video series of making your own family history video using Corel Video Studio X7 Ultimate. Today we'll be talking about the storyboarding process. Storyboarding is the outline of a movie. In theater filmmaking, storyboarding is comic books-like layout that tells the mechanics of each shot so the director can get all the shots he needs to tell the story. In family history video making, we're given the shots, and there's no going back and recreating the Super 8 footage that was taken in 1972 or the photo from 1920 or changing the look of the 1860 census. So instead of creating each shot, we instead organize our library of assets, and unlike a theater production, this process will require no drawing skills, no screenwriting, no camera moves or staging. You won't even have a script until after you've started making your film, if you have one at all. There's some similarities to the professional storyboarding though. It will act as your blueprint for your movie, and like the professionals, you should keep your audience in mind to a point. Remember that this is to pass on stories and family facts to your descendants. That means it may not be super entertaining, but it doesn't have to be just a list of family members in a monotone voice either. There are several ways to storyboard, and you'll need to figure out which one works best for you. Here's a whiteboard with post-it notes. I've made them into 4 categories: video, photos, other, narration. And notice there isn't any narration ones because until I put it together I won't know what narration needs to be done. And then I've listed a library asset onto each post-it, and I can rearrange them, or I can arrange them or rearrange them as I want, and I can add timing and notes to everything, keeping in mind that there must be something on the screen at all times. You can do all this on paper or 3x5 cards or slips of paper and tape, whatever. In Corel Video Studio, there's a couple things you can do to help organize your movie, or at least your library assets, but it's not a complete storyboarding solution. Earlier she introduced everybody in the picture, and we put their name on the front of it. Remember over here we put the name on it and things like that. So this is where we are so far, but see how I chopped this up to get rid of a few ums and ers and things like that we were talking about the other day. And when you go to storyboard view, you'll see that first of all, none of the secondary assets, the overlays, the name, the text, any of that kind of stuff, none of that shows up, which makes it a little bit difficult to organize in storyboard view. You need to organize elsewhere. And then every time you make a cut, it's a new thing here. Well, these are in order, these are in sequence, so if there was a way to put them all together, that might be a little bit better, but you get the idea. We know that these have to be together. And we know that this one should follow these because she's going to tell the same story. So it's not a complete solution. What you can do, however, is things like, I know that in, let's see, where is it? There's one part where she talks about a little house, that they call it the honeymoon cottage in this family. And anyway, there's a picture of the honeymoon cottage right here, and we're going to take it down, and see, I've just left-clicked on it, and I'm going to drag it down and put it near the honeymoon cottage that she talks about. As soon as I find it, oh, here it is, honeymoon cottage. So I can put that right there, and now it's next to it. So my assets that are I'm going to show that while she's talking about it. So you can do things like that. This should always be near this because any of those creator files that go with that. But as you can see, it's not a complete solution to the storyboard process. So one of the ways that I found very helpful in the past is using Excel. And I know, who would have thought that Excel could be used this way, but my experience with it in business made me realize that it has many uses. And here's an example of a movie I did a few years ago. I've changed names for privacy reasons, but first of all, I have these tabs at the bottom, and that way I could keep all of my assets in one place. So right now you're looking at what may have been the menu if I was going to make a menu, which by the way is a great way to do an outline. But that way I know exactly how it's going to open up. I've got an intro. I know I'm going to open up with my main subject saying I've been blessed, and then he's going to go into a lot of other things within his story. But if I was going to put a menu together for this, these are the different sections of the menu that I would show. I even listed the different questions that I would have asked, or that I asked his 4 children, and that way I had everything together, which can it was in, and where it was in the filming process, and all of that kind of stuff. So I knew where their answers could be found, and even when my appointments and stuff were with them. And then I have a place here on another tab where I just did some research on different places that they lived, and tried to get, like they lived in Ballinger, Texas in 1924. So this is what it looked like when he lived there, and the cars that they drove and everything. So it's an interesting picture that I found on the internet, and I used it. I even put down the URL so I knew where it was, so I could go back and find it should I need a different resolution, that kind of thing. And again, right around the time that he was born was here, a picture of Ballinger, and then a more recent one, and then we just had different things that I wanted to find, or notes of things that he spoke about but were not specific to him. So it might be a filling station because one of his brothers worked there, or at a filling station. So what did they look like in 1915 to 1935, that time frame? And I would go out and look for that and enter it into their family movie. And then I had a place that I could do the tree, so even as I got confused, I could go through the tree myself and go, oh yeah, I remember that now. And then I had a list of all of the pictures, just the different pictures that he gave me to talk about it. And it was just a way for me to tag each picture and know what I had to work with. And then I had the different questions that I was asking him and the answers. Then I put it all together as a master. And here was the narration that I needed to add, so I knew what to, here's my script. This was for the after I'd done everything else. Then here was the script, and I needed a voiceover, and here's my shot list, and the different shots that I had, what story he was telling, and then what pictures went along with the story, and then other assets. Remember that period pictures of Ballinger, Texas, and things like that. So I had all of this put together, and this was my master. And as I went through, it told the entire thing. But what's nice about Excel is I could go through here and say, okay, he went to college here. Oh, but he had a paper route. So I can cut that. I can come up here and insert the cut cells, so I can move it around as a row. And each row I had set up to be an asset or a clip in the movie, and something had to be on screen at all times. So the constant picture list, shot list, so forth. And that's how I like to do my storyboarding. But again, it's up to you as to what works for you. It's a very personal thing, and what the basics of storyboarding is to give you an outline, a blueprint of your movie. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for the next step in making your own family history video. Thanks for watching.